Everyone knows Stitch as that little blue alien who was made to wreak havoc. But did you know that some people actually believe Stitch isn't an alien? And if that's true, what is he then? Is he a koala? Stitch, or more accurately, Experiment 626, is officially an extraterrestrial. But underneath all that soft blue fur hides a compact, adorably destructive chaos machine. His body, which looks like a mashup between a jacked bat and a koala, was easily mistaken for a dog. So much so that Lilo ended up adopting him from a shelter when she and Nani decided to get a pet. Even though he looked, well, unusual by her sister's standards, Lilo took him home. I mean, who could resist a big-eyed blue dog that looks like it came straight out of some mad science lab? But deep in the corners of the internet, fans started floating a wild theory. What if Stitch isn't an alien at all? Yes, he arrived on a spaceship. Yes, he was created in a lab by a mad scientist named Jumba. And yes, he was designed to destroy everything in sight. But is that really enough proof? Some folks are convinced he's actually some kind of koala from a parallel version of Australia. Confused? Just wait, it gets weirder. Stitch was designed to be the ultimate chaos bundle. His massive ears give him super hearing, so sharp he could probably hear gossip from miles away. He disguised himself as a dog because he figured out that, on Earth, all you really need to do to get adopted is wag your tail, even if you don't have one. So the question still stands, is Stitch really a hyper-destructive alien, or just the most hardcore mutant in human history? To get to the bottom of this clawed, big-eared genetic mystery, we've got to look past appearances. What if Stitch didn't come from a faraway galaxy, but from something even crazier? Come along as we dive into another wild theory. A mutant. So, maybe Stitch isn't just an alien. Some fans think he's actually the result of genetic mixing, using DNA from various Earth animals. Sounds crazy? Well, believe it or not, it's technically possible. There's a real-world technology called CRISPR-Cas9. Sounds like a Star Wars droid, but it's actually a cutting-edge gene editing tool so advanced it would make Jumba jealous. With CRISPR, scientists can insert traits from one species into another, creating animals with custom abilities. Basically, it's exactly what Jumba did with Stitch. And no, it has nothing to do with crispy chicken, even if it does sound like something on a fast food menu. It's legit science. In China, for instance, researchers already spliced spider genes into silkworms to make silk that's unbelievably strong. Yeah, straight up Spider-Man vibes. Back to Stitch. He's got soft fur, oversized ears, big eyes, and a nose that looks straight off a plush toy. But all of that could be inspired by real creatures here on Earth. So, who knows? Maybe Stitch didn't fall from the stars. Maybe he's the future of bioengineering with a touch of cuteness and chaos. A mix of everything. Stitch got adopted because everyone thought he was just some weird-looking blue dog, and no one raised any alarms at the shelter when they saw that odd little face. Lilo and Nani went in to pick out a pet, and even though he looked kinda strange, Lilo didn't hesitate. She thought she was just taking home a quirky, lovable pup. The truth? Stitch is basically a genetically remixed combo of several Earth creatures. The poisonous spikes on his back? Definitely giving lionfish vibes. Beautiful, but deadly. That little Jeep-style antenna could have been inspired by a monarch butterfly. And let's be real, those 4 arms, insect DNA, like beetles, totally checks out. His sharp claws might come from cat DNA, able to shred almost anything. His giant ears, sensitive up to over 13 centimeters away, might be borrowed from desert foxes. His eyes combine eagle-like long-range vision, owl night vision, and even infrared-like goldfish sight. And that insane strength? Lifting 3 times his body weight sounds like something right out of a gorilla's skill set. All he was missing was the blue color, and that's where the blue sea star comes in, giving Stitch his iconic shade. So really, Stitch is the dream combo for any science lab, or any kid who ever wanted a pet that could wreck the house and still ask for cookies afterward. Before we keep going with Stitch isn't an alien, drop a comment below saying koala. Created on Earth? So technically, we could build our very own Stitch right here on Earth. But to do that, we'd need tech so advanced it would make even the smartest scientists in white coats start sweating. We're talking next-level genetic engineering, a precise combo of animal DNA, a whole lot of trial and error, and of course, a sci-fi movie-worthy lab setup. In other words, something only Dr. Jumba Jookiba could actually pull off, or almost pull off. Because let's not forget, Stitch is experiment number 626. Yup, that means there were 625 other attempts before him, most of them failures or incomplete prototypes. Jumba didn't nail it on the first try. He messed up, he learned, he improved. But when he finally hit number 626, he created the perfect combo of chaos, cuteness, and attitude. Stitch. The mission? Spread chaos and misery across the entire galaxy. Because, well, why not? At the end of the day, Stitch is the result of wild science, countless failed tests, and a sprinkle of galactic bad luck. Or good luck. If you ask Lilo, did he come from space? He came crashing down from the sky inside a burning red spaceship, like a meteor, right when Lilo and Nani were having one of those serious sister talks. You know, yelling, fighting, and saying all the stuff they'd been bottling up. Bam! Stitch shows up, clumsy, confused, and right in the middle of it all, changing their lives forever. But here's the real question. Stitch isn't really from anywhere. He's a creation, a messed up science project cooked up by Jumba, designed for one thing, to cause trouble. He wasn't born on a planet. He didn't come from Mars, Venus, or Pluto. He was born in a spaceship inside a tube filled with some very suspicious goo. So now the real cosmic question is, if someone wasn't born on a planet, where do they belong? If Stitch had been born on Mars, he'd be a Martian. But since he was made in Jumba's floating lab, drifting through space, Stitch has no nationality, no home planet, not even a birth certificate. In the end, Stitch isn't an alien in the traditional sense. He's a child of science, a product of chaos, a runaway experiment who literally fell into the arms of a Hawaiian girl with a heart bigger than the galaxy. Evil. Where does it come from? Everyone knows Stitch was designed with one goal in mind, to destroy everything in his path. But then something happened. Something even Jumba didn't see coming. Stitch met Lilo, and her love, her friendship, and her kindness did something science couldn't. They turned a so-called evil project into a being with a heart. But this raises a question that still haunts fans today. If Stitch was created to be bad down to the very last cell, how did he choose to be good? If he were human, we'd say it's free will. But Stitch isn't human. He's an experiment, literally built in a lab, programmed for destruction at the cellular level. That's why some fans believe Stitch was never truly evil to begin with. Think about it. The animals that may have inspired his DNA, foxes, gorillas, cats, eagles, insects, even fish, aren't evil. They just follow the natural order of life. Predators hunt prey not out of cruelty, but out of survival. And maybe, just maybe, Stitch, being a combo of so many animals and instincts, never really knew what his role in the food chain was. Maybe he never figured out who his natural prey was supposed to be. And in that mix of confused instincts, something amazing happened. He realized he had a choice. With no idea who he was supposed to destroy, Stitch met Lilo, who offered him something else entirely: love. And now's the perfect time for you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss any of our new videos. A dog? What's really strange, okay, super strange, is the fact that a creature like Stitch ended up in a dog shelter. Because, let's be real, there's nothing dog-like about him. He's blue, with giant eyes, creepy teeth, and a build that looks like a plush toy that went through some bizarre transformation process. So here's the million-dollar question. How did no one notice he wasn't a dog? Maybe the shelter worker was new, or it was her first day on the job. Or maybe she just wasn't getting paid enough to deal with disguised aliens. Who knows? Maybe she saw those razor-sharp teeth and thought, wow, this one's exotic. Must be one of those rare designer breeds. Or maybe she was just so freaked out he might bite her that she rushed the paperwork and called him a dog just to get it over with. Either way, the fact is, Stitch got adopted as a dog. And considering everything that happened after that, yeah, that shelter lady definitely deserved a raise that day. And what about the others? But what about the other experiments? Could they also be created here on Earth? The answer is, theoretically, yes. But it wouldn't be easy. It would take detailed genetic analysis, super powerful microscopes, and a lab with more test tubes than patients for Jumba's chaos. If we studied the work of the galaxy's most lovable mad scientist closely, maybe we could figure out how each experiment was made. Even more than that, we might be able to spot similarities with Earth animals. Because remember, Stitch wasn't the only project. He's Experiment 626, which means there were hundreds before him, each with its own powers, personalities, and levels of chaos, ranging from funny to full-blown destruction. Some of these experiments even remind us of animals we already know. Take 625, for example. Basically a lazy version of Stitch who only cares about making sandwiches. He could totally have some sloth DNA in there. Others seem to have traits from fish, amphibians, insects, birds. Basically, it's like a traveling alien zoo. In the end, Stitch proves that it doesn't really matter where you came from. What matters is who you choose to be. He was created to be evil, but he found redemption through the love of a little Hawaiian girl. Even the most chaotic experiments deserve a second chance. Whether he's an alien, a mutant koala, or a mashup of every animal on Earth, Stitch represents something deeply human, the search for belonging. And if you're into Bluey and animated shows, we've got 2 awesome videos we think you're gonna love. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!